everybody. As promised, I'm here at the Stitcher's Garden in downtown Conway, Arkansas, and Miss Lynda has agreed to visit with me for a few minutes about the store and kind of how she got into cross-stitching and tell us a little bit and show us around her store. So, hi Miss Lynda, tell us about how you got into cross-stitching and tell us a little bit about the Stitcher's Garden.
Well, it's a strange story how I got into cross-stitching. My boyfriend at the time told me he thought I would enjoy cross-stitching because his previous girlfriend really enjoyed it. I thought, there's no way I'm ever going to cross-stitch.
Yeah.
And we ended up getting married, and he went off to graduate school, and when he was finishing up, went to the bookstore at Notre Dame, and there was a cross-stitch kit of the administration building, the Gold Dome.
Oh.
And so he bought it and gave it to me to stitch for him.
Oh, that's sweet. Here, make me something.
Yes. Not knowing how to cross stitch, I just followed the instructions in the kit. Little did I know it was a more complicated piece.
Oh, lovely.
Had quarter stitches, had metallic threads. But anyway.
So you jumped in the deep end.
I did and was hooked.
Yeah.
He was right, and I hate to admit it, but he was. And so I stitched and stitched and stitched. And then a friend of mine, she opened a store, a cross-stitch store in Searcy back in 1996, I think it was, or 7.
Yeah.
And she had the store about 7 years, and then contacted me saying she needed to sell. Would I be interested in buying it?
Cool.
And you know, she contacted me through email. So I'm saying, Jack, come look at this email. And he says, I think you ought to consider it.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, oh no. I liked being a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
But he worked on me, and it took about a month, and finally agreed to do it.
Yeah.
Bought the store in 2004, moved it from Searcy to Conway, and have expanded 3 times.
Wow.
So
that's impressive.
Been open now about 15 and a half years.
So is Jack the one that volunteered you to do the cross stitch initially?
Uh-huh.
Oh.
It was Jack.
That's who I work with, so that's cool. All right.
Yeah.
Very good. So, all right. So if you don't care, we can just walk around a little bit, and you can tell us a little bit how cross-stitching has kind of changed over the years.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
And then we can look at some of your pretty stuff. Really expanded store.
Yes.
So, okay, so tell us a little bit about kind of the breadth of things, because your online catalog, you have a huge online presence, and your catalog is really extensive. So kind of what's the breadth of things that people can find?
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm one of those that likes to have a little bit of everything. I know some people just want to do samplers. Some people just want to do cute little fast to finish things.
Right.
I just try to cover a little bit of everything because I never know who's going to come in.
Right. And
So-
some of us like it all.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are some of your most popular, like, I guess, designers?
Oh my. There's so many.
Yeah.
What's selling hot right now is Plum Street samplers with my needle and thread. I still sell Lizzie Kate stuff, even though she retired. I'm still selling a lot of Lizzie Kate.
I know that a lot of the floss tube people that the few ones that I've watched have talked about samplers.
Yeah.
You know, I guess that's kind of what gets hot. Is what's going on the internet. So we talked a little bit when I first walked in about how things have changed. You know, you and I both kind of started cross stitching around the same time, it sounds like, and then I put it down for a long time. I put it down for a long time, but picked it back up, and kind of like with knitting, I learned a long time ago, and then I've come back to it. Things are different now.
Things are very different. Used to, you could buy what they just called cross stitch fabric, which was Ada, in pretty much 14 or 18 count in white, antique white, cream, or red and green. That's just about all you saw. Now, if you look, we've got the Ada still, but you can get them in these beautiful hand-dyed colors. And folks are really doing more linen. And we go from 14 count linen all the way to 46 count linens.
Ooh.
Little tiny stitches there.
That'd be rough.
But so many colors.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's amazing. Look at all those. And that was one thing, I hadn't really looked at cross stitching stuff seriously until I came into your store that time. And I was like, I had to take a step back. I was like, whoa. Whoa, okay.
Yeah.
And then floss has really evolved
Yeah,
too.
they're not just DMCs anymore.
Right.
Of course, we do still have DMC.
Mm-hmm.
But we've got like solid colored silks now, not just cottons. Lots of hand-dyed cottons that give you these variations in color
Mm-hmm.
for your pieces.
So what's the advantage or or why would you use silk over cotton on something? Just for the luxury of
The
it?
luxury and the sheen
Okay.
that silk will provide.
Okay. And then of course metallics. And lots of beading.
Lots of beads and buttons.
Oh yes, little accent buttons. Embellishment kits I notice are a
yeah.
big thing now.
Yeah.
So it's just, your mind can just go crazy and you can just do all sorts of things. So you do other things here besides cross stitch too. You're a true needlework store, right?
Yeah, we have cross stitch, we have some hardanger, we've got stump work, we have tamari balls, we do Russian punch needle, beading, and custom framing.
Yay! Yeah, and that's brought my bag of stuff in to get framed. Look at getting framed. So, but okay, so are you noticing like I don't know what the right word is, but are you noticing a difference in the constituency of people who stitch? Like, are there younger people coming in?
I've got some younger ones that have just started coming in. They've found a lot of things on Etsy.
Yes.
And so they're coming in for some supplies.
Yeah.
But once you get them in the shop, then they find other things.
Yeah,
too.
yeah. You just got to get, it's a gateway. I was talking with somebody the other day. Cross stitching was really my gateway craft. It's the thing I started with, and now I do try everything at least once, you know. So, okay, you want to go up front and we'll look at some of the designs. Okay, so we're starting in my favorite section, which is the Halloween section. And of course, I'm going to splurge a little bit because I saw this piece. That's what I like, is you've got so many samples where you can see things that are done and get an idea of just different ways to do things. So I'm going to splurge like I need another project. So
very often the pictures on the patterns don't really do it justice. If they've got a lot of beads or a lot of metallics, that won't come out in the picture.
right.
You really have to see it in person.
Yeah, you got to see it in person and see all the pretty stuff. So you've kind of got the store organized, I noticed on this side, by holiday or by season.
By seasons. I sure
Yeah.
do. Down the whole wall here. It's
Yeah. Oh, there's the little witchy mouse. I'll have to come back and get her to go with my other one that's got the little house. So we started in the fall section because that's the one I tend to be drawn to. So, oh, I know that right now there's a Glendon Place. Oh yes, the Sleepy Hollow guy. I want to do
I love
him.
this one.
Moonshine Crafter is doing that one on her floss tube / she's a craft cast because
Yeah.
she does a little bit, but she's got me interested in that one, so that one's definitely on my list. Oh look, there's a mousy scissor roll. Oh Lord. There's just I'm in
She's finding
trouble.
more.
I'm in trouble. A
I
holiday.
have stitchers that work on Christmas year round. I remember my very first year in business. I opened in October, and the UPS guy was always bringing deliveries in. And after Christmas, he came in, and I still had the Christmas tree up and Christmas on display. And he asked me when I was going to take it down. I said, "Oh no, you don't
Never.
understand. Never. Stitchers work Christmas year round."
Yes, yes. And I know the preschooler Santas, that's kind of a thing, you know, with a lot of stitchers. I have a friend, Nancy, she's done several of those. And actually, I just ran onto, I was at the thrift store for the Have a Heart Rescue up in Yellville, and I found 5 pieces that were completed
Wow.
that somebody had just brought in to the thrift store.
My goodness.
And so I snapped them up.
Parted with them. I can't believe it.
Well, I'm sure that, you know, that's one thing that I think is important about places like this is, you know, younger people learning to do this. Then maybe when grandma passes away and you find grandma's stuff, you appreciate it and you don't get rid of it. And that's something that we've kind of, you know, we live in a little bit of a disposable society where you don't understand the work that goes into things. Kind of like that piece I brought you, asking you about salvaging it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I did a lot of work on that. So, but yeah, I definitely think that places like this or like knitting stores are really important because handicraft is important. It's valuable. So,
You won't hear me arguing that.
Yeah. I'm preaching the choir on it. Now we're getting into gadgetry, and that's the thing that has
I'm a gadget
really.
girl.
Oh, I am too. Anybody that follows my podcast knows that I love the gadgets, and that's something that has really exploded, I think, in all crafts.
Yep.
So, kind of, what are some of your favorite gadgets that we didn't have when we started?
Oh goodness, there were still a lot of gadgets then, but I'm a scissor girl.
Oh yes.
I have scissors that are double curved for working inside a Q-snap, and these are great for working on Russian punch needle.
Okay.
But I also have scissors that have serrated edges that I only use for metallic threads, because you don't want to ding up your good scissors on something that would nick them.
You see my mind going,
I've got scissors that are seasonal, depending on.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I'm in so much trouble.
I'm in trouble. I like scissors. What can I say? So,
Yeah. So I saw something over here that made me was going to ask about. What are those?
Those are scissor fobs. They're little decorations for your scissors.
Oh Lord. Help me.
But they also help, like if you're sitting in a couch and you put your scissors down, you know how they can slide.
Yeah, they go in. The couch eats them.
This helps them not go down, but it also
Okay.
helps you find them if they do.
Yeah. So what are?
But I like them as
What are
decoration.
the walnut shells for?
If you're making pin cushions. That's the
Oh
help.
my gosh. Okay. Oh Lord. Okay. So you're talking about Russian punch needle. I don't know what that is. What is that?
Let me show you some patterns. I don't have a model like this second.
Okay. Oh, that's a cute
They're
little.
very textural.
Oh gosh. Oh, that's beautiful.
But see, look here.
Oh yeah.
It's all little loops,
Uh-huh.
and you can vary the loops.
Depending on how deeply you punch.
Right.
I've tried to do a little kit that I bought from a big box store, and it doesn't look that pretty.
Yeah.
So these are with yarn or wool. Are they with wool?
They're with just the embroidery
Oh
flosses.
Lord, those are beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Okay, I'm in a lot of trouble. Send help.
I'm here, honey.
I'm not going back to school. I'm just gonna stay over here.
I'm here for you.
Oh gosh. So you have classes, I know, and you have like stitch knots and stuff
And
too.
stitch days.
And stitch days, and I won't go back there and video them right up in their faces, but I'll just say,
But
look,
we've got
there's some
some
people
folks that are here
stitching.
stitching today.
Cool. So it's like a community thing.
Absolutely.
It's a good way to get things done, I think, too. So I was going to look at the best of show ribbon here. Look at that. That's beautiful. Well, that's what we're gunning for at Polk County. That's why we're going to get stuff framed. Oh, and here's heart hanger. I was asking about that. Can you explain a little bit about that to me? About what heart hanger is, how it works?
Not easily.
Not easily. Okay.
You will do a bunch of anchoring stitches that usually go around edges, and then you cut out certain stitches and threads, and then pull them away and do fancy stitches around the remaining threads. It makes
Okay.
it look lacy.
Okay. So that was a solid thing when it started.
It was a solid piece of fabric.
And then you've got to trust the process enough to cut it.
That first cut when you've not done heart hanger before,
Yeah.
it's really pretty scary.
It's like steeking and knitting, where you knit a cardigan in the round so you don't have to knit backwards, and then you stabilize it and you cut it open.
Ooh.
Yeah. A lot of people are like, oh, I can't do that. And I'm like, well, I'm not afraid to cut stuff, but you just got to trust the process, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I love these patterns. These were some that always got me interested in cross stitching, because I always thought these were so beautiful. And they're just so detailed. Yeah, I just love all these. So,
And this is some of the difference too in cross stitch from the 80s now. All the beautiful beadwork and the metallic threads. There's so much of that.
yeah, I think, because I remember those horses that I did had the metallic thread, and that's kind of a new, great big deal, to have that. So, those are beautiful. I love that mermaid.
Ain't she pretty?
That's gorgeous. And then you do framing here, like you said. You framed all these pieces. It's beautiful. So, oh, look at that. I love those. there's just so much pretty stuff, and I'm so not fast.
That's okay.
I'm so not fast. If somebody wants to get into cross stitch that's never done it before, what's a good what advice do you have to a rank beginner?
First, I would just have them come in and look and see what they like.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can go with, like, if they like sayings and little snarky sayings, I've got some beginner kits there. And doing words is probably easier
Backstitch type stuff, yeah.
than some of like those
Yeah.
big memorabilia.
Yeah,
stores.
those.
I certainly would never start somebody there.
No Notre Dame for you then.
Don't do what I did. Yeah. But Lizzie Kate, as that designer, she has some less complicated designs. That,
And you know what a letter's supposed to look like, so you can
Right.
tell if you've done it right
yeah,
or
but,
wrong.
you know, something simpler like this,
Mm-hmm.
without a whole lot of color change.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have many kits, but if you find something that you like, we can kit it up for you. We've
Right.
got all the supplies here.
Right. So, okay, and I wanted to talk a little bit about your online presence, because I know you have a huge online shop, and you pretty much, is it pretty much anything you have here you can order?
Everything.
Okay.
Every single thing in the shop is on the website.
Okay.
Everything.
Okay. So they just have to get on there and look. So it's all available. So, and I think Jack told me you shipped all over the world, haven't you?
I have. I just sent something to Tasmania the
Oh
other
my
day.
gosh. Wow.
Shipped stuff to Poland and Iceland and
Mm-hmm.
France and the Ukraine, and Japan, several to Australia, but never Tasmania before.
I know, that's a new one, isn't it? So that's really cool. Ooh, I love this. That's really neat with
And
the
I love
buttons.
what that one says.
I do too. I like that a lot. And that fabric is beautiful. See, that's
There's that fabric.
there's that
again.
fabric, that evolution of the craft that.
Yeah, and if you didn't like the brown tones, pick something that works in your house.
Yeah.
Or
and that-
something that you like. It doesn't have to be what the designer showed.
Right. You can change things out. I think that's the neat thing about crafting, is you can make it your own. So.
And some women won't. They like the picture on the pattern, so they want it exactly like that.
Exactly like
Because they're
that.
afraid that if they change it, they won't like the way it looks.
Right. They don't trust changing it. Yeah.
And yet we change stuff all the time.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. It's been fun.
I'm so glad you
And I will
came.
definitely be back when the good old tax return comes in, but I'm getting this today. Got to get this.
Way we ride.
Yep, that's right. Okay, thanks, Miss Linda. Well, I hope you enjoyed the visit to the Stitcher's Garden in downtown Conway. I appreciate Jack and Linda for setting that up for me. He was the go-between and asked first if she would do that, and she was more than willing to visit with me. So, of course, I couldn't walk out of there empty-handed. Anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed it. Go check out our online shop. I'll link it down below so you can look at all the cool stuff. And yeah, so I will see y'all in a week or so with another podcast. And until then, y'all be good to each other and take care of each other. And peace out, y'all. Bye.